What up, y'all? It's the White Shadow Norway back again with number 2 in my horror movie collection videos. This is going to be a really long one, probably feature length and the longest one I've ever done, so kick back, relax and enjoy. As I show you the biggest and best part of my horror movie collection, which is the DVD horror collection. As we started off with one of the best werewolf movies of all time. It's John Landis, An American Werewolf in London, of course, with the great effects and everything. Werewolf Transformation, one of the all-time classics, real funny one, as well as a scary one, this one. Gotta love John Landis, man. I love watching interviews with John Landis, who did Michael Jackson's Thriller video, music video as well. He's like really super duper enthusiastic about all this horror shit. He's like a big kid, man, so it's he's a fun interview object. That was movie number 1. Movie number 2, moving on to Ghostly Spots with the Amityville Horror, loosely based on a true story and a real creepy haunted house movie classic, that one. Yep, let me try not to mess them up in there. Next one is a 70s movie called And Now the Screaming Starts, from Amicus, the other famous British, I believe, British horror company besides Hammer. This was based on a book called Fengriffen, or Fengriffen House, that I used to read a lot when I was a kid. I still have the book. It has like this ghoul that comes out of the grave, real spooky, scary, creepy book. The movie's alright. It's a little bit dated, but it's good fun, man. It's stupid at times, but good fun. And you got this crawling hand creeping around, killing people as well. And now the screaming starts. And it has started as the White Shadow Norway. Me, myself, and I go through my DVD horror movie collection. On to a slasher type, mystery type comedy horror movie. And one I really love as well, from the mid-late 80s, this one, April Fool's Day. Yeah, it's just real good fun, man. Just get it if you don't have it. Back to some supernatural reincarnation type shit with Audrey Rose. I have the book for this one as well. It's real creepy, and the movie is quite creepy as well. It's not great by any means, but it's a good one. From back in the days, from the 70s, I think. Peter Jackson's classic gore-filled debut. This one, of course, Bad Taste. So damn funny, man. That scene where the sheep blows up, that comes way out of left field. It's it still cracks me up every time that I see it. Great one, of course. Peter Jackson went on to direct Lord of the Rings and King Kong and huge blockbusters, but his first couple of movies, and this was the very first one, was horror, real gory horror movies. Moving on to some Asian stuff. This is Battle Royale, some kind of special edition. It's even got like a small reel in there as an extra feature on this one. Really good contemporary horror classic, this one, about what if you were forced to kill your friends, to survive, would you do it? That's the question right there. Awesome movie anyway. To Italy we go with a Mario Bava classic, probably his most gory one, called A Bay of Blood. That was one of the video nasties as well, and it's a great one. Like it says here, before Friday the 13th, before Halloween, before I Know What You Did Last Summer, well, there's only one original blood slasher. So this goes for being the first slasher movie. I guess if you don't count Psycho and stuff like that, because that one's from the 70s anyway. Keep you in Italy with a really sleazy, violent, gory classic. This one by Joe D'Amato, who's really a porn director. But yeah, he made some great horror movies as well. Not many, I would say like 4 or 5, and the rest of what he made was pretty shitty. But this is his best one by far, in my opinion. Biomega, or that's the original Italian title, or Beyond the Darkness. Of course, Goblin with a great score there, sampled to death by myself and other hip-hop producers. Keep you in Italy. Dario Argento's first movie he directed, Bird with a Crystal Plumage, and one of his very best giallos as well. For those of y'all who don't know what giallo is, it's Italian crime movies. The name comes from the giallo books, which all had yellow covers on them. So you know, giallo is yellow in Italian. And they're more gory than, it's like Agatha Christie type mysteries, but they're more gory and violent and sleazy and stuff like that. So one of the greatest in that genre, directed by the great maestro Dario Argento, Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Moving you back to the USA, we have another all-time favorite of mine. Catch the eye here. Yeah, it's almost Christmas time, and essential Christmas viewing is of course Black Christmas. If this movie doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight. This is a masterpiece horror movie, and also an early slasher. I think this came out in 1975, starring John Saxon as well. Does a great job, as he always does. And yeah, this is creepy shit, man. Really, really scary. Black Christmas, love that shit. We move it to Italy, and we move it back to Mario Bava, an anthology movie. 3 stories in this one. A Drop of Water, the last one being the creepiest, and one of the very few movies that still truly scare me. Actually, it's just like 15 minutes long, but it's so damn creepy. The ghost in that one, oh man, it's so scary. Movie's called Black Sabbath, and as the story goes, Ozzy Osbourne and you know, the band Black Sabbath, they were in a hotel room, and they didn't have a name for their band, or they were looking for a new name that was, you know, real hard-hitting and cool. And they just took a look out the window, and they saw this movie theater across the street showing this movie called Black Sabbath, and voila, there it was. Black Sabbath was born, the band as well. So, you know, horror movies inspired musicians way before us hip-hop heads a lot too, and so that's a real cool story, and it's the true one, actually. Yes, in Italy we stay. Big fan of Italian horror and giallo. This is another great giallo. That's also relevant to everyone who makes music, like you know, as hip-hop producers and other musicians, because it's about this musician that gets stalked by this killer and everything. And yeah, another creepy one by Lamberto Bava. This one, Mario Bava's son, if I'm not mistaken, and it's called A Blade in the Dark. Nice soundtrack on that one as well. Here's a really obscure giallo called Bloodstained Butterfly. It's not really that great. So, you know, I got some movies that I normally wouldn't buy nowadays, but some of these are really old. There's like first edition DVDs that I copped before you could easily stream and download movies and stuff. So it's a cool title to have in a collection, Bloodstained Butterfly, though not really a great giallo. It's okay. Back to New Zealand, and back to Peter Jackson we go with his ultimate gore fest, Brain Dead, or known as Dead or Alive in the US and some other countries. This is bananas, man, especially the lawnmower scenes. I read somewhere how many gallons of blood they used for this. I mean, stage blood, obviously. But yeah, it was a lot, man. It broke the world record, at least back then. I'm sure there's gorier movies now, but at the time, like early 90s, I think this one. Yeah, nobody could fuck with this when it came to gore and violence and stuff. But it's all done in a fun comedy way, though, so you can actually laugh at it if you have a really bizarre sense of humor, like most of us horror fans do. Take you back to another obscure Italian horror zombie movie, this one, called Burial Ground, The Nights of Terror. If you've seen this one, there's a little guy who's like really creepy. I don't really have to say more than that. Well, he's actually a grown dude, but he looks like a little guy, and he's like really weird, and he bites his mom's nipple off and things. Is really bizarre stuff in this one. This is one of the known as one of the nastiest 80s horror gore movies as well, that one, Burial Ground. Moving on to one of my favorite slashers besides Halloween. This is my very favorite slasher, actually, and it's the classic The Burning. Gather around the campfire Die. And this, of course, has the awesome soundtrack by synthesizer wizard Rick Wakeman on it, and it's just a great slasher movie, and a lot of fun too. They're at camp in this, and the killer runs around summer camp killing teens and stuff like that, and brought back fond memories of myself at that age being at summer camp. Of course, minus the killing, though. A lot of the pranks in it, we used to do them too back in the days. Good times. Anyway, more contemporary-like classic, this one. Going down to Cabrini Green for Candyman. Clive Barker's Candyman, of course. We had a lot of fun with this back in the 90s too. Like, you're supposed to look in the mirror. If you say Candyman more than 5 times, then he's supposed to appear behind you and kill your ass. So we never got to 5. Actually, it was always like Candyman, 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 and then no more. So, you know, Clive Barker's Candyman, a lot of fun and a great movie as well, that one. One of the follow-ups, only way I could get it probably, because it's not a great movie by any means. It's alright though, it's Candyman 3, also called Day of the Dead. Yeah, they did 3 Candyman movies, and they're all worth having, but the first one is by far the best. Showed you this yesterday on Blu-ray, but I'm still keeping my DVD version as well of Cannibal Ferox and also Cannibal Holocaust, especially because of the cover, because this is the same as the original Go Video UK cover, the Video Nasty cover there, Cannibal Holocaust. So I'm gonna hold on to this forever. This was a real early, I think probably the earliest DVD edition of Cannibal Holocaust, that one. A lot of these are probably worth a little something right now, as a lot of them are out of print and everything. This here is a compilation by my absolute favorite horror director, John Carpenter. John Carpenter, The Collection. It's got Halloween, Escape from New York, The Thing, The Fog, They Live, Assault on Precinct 13, and Prince of Darkness. So the only one of his really great ones that are missing here, I think, is Christine. But yeah, I think we can find that later on in this video too. Thanks to my main man Arnie, who actually works in the movie business, a really great special effects guy who's done effects for movies like Hellboy 2 and Paul and a lot of Kon-Tiki and a lot of great movies. He gave me this for Christmas. Your best friends know what you like, so much thanks to you, Arnie, for that. This is an awesome collection still, and some of them I've upgraded, but it's a great DVD collection to have that one. So it's back in the shelf and we keep it moving. This is one of the X-rated cult cinema hard boxes from Germany. Germany are really great at DVD and video cover design. They have these big boxes. You can see it's much bigger than the regular DVDs and stuff. Most of them really collectibles and limited to just a few copies. This is the Italian Giallo Case of the Scorpion's Tail, which is a really good one as well there. Nice addition to have from X-rated cult cinema. One movie trying to escape in here. Can't have that, so I'm gonna pull it back out. Pull you back out. And that's a Lucio Fulci one, probably his most gory one, called Cat in the Brain, or also known as Nightmare Concert. Yes, that's what I got my album title from, Nightmare Concert album title. A few years ago when I dropped that album, so yeah, defo inspired by Lucio Fulci and Co., a great gore movie, that one. A little messy at times. It's actually a compilation of some of his other movies mixed with some new stuff and everything, so yeah, it can be a little messy, but it's a great gore movie anyway. Back to Dario Argento's follow-up to Bird with a Crystal Plumage, another Giallo, The Cat o' Nine Tails. In my opinion, not nearly as good as the first one, but it's aight. It's a good Giallo and it's Argento. You gotta have all the Argento flicks, you know. Moving on to Cat People. This is actually a remake from the 80s. This has the famous David Bowie score and Giorgio Moroder on the usual soundtrack as well, being sampled by myself, among many others, I'm sure. I think the first one to sample from this was High and Mighty on the track The Half. That's from this soundtrack there, the Cat People. It's still a cool movie, got Stasha Kinski in it, and of course the great Malcolm McDowell of Clockwork Orange Caligula fame. So that's a fun one, man, about people turning into cats. And we're not talking about like little pussy cats, we're talking about big panthers, as you can see there. Grab that one, a classic that's kind of slept on, man. It was really big back in the days when it came out, so yeah, you should have that in your collection. On to one of my favorite ghost movies from all time, actually. It's an 80s movie as well, called The Changeling. Not going too heavy into the plots because, like I said yesterday, the video was going to be too long. So, The Changeling, you must have that if you're a fan of ghost movies. You just gotta have it. Yeah, I was talking about John Carpenter's Christine, and there it is, of course, about a cursed car that kills. It's a fun one. It's a little lighter, not as creepy and scary as some other of John Carpenter's movies, but still a really good one there, Christine. Definitely a must-have in any respectable horror collection as well. Back to Italy we go with a classic, Contamination, which is like an Alien ripoff. On repeated viewings, back in the days I thought this was real cool, but on repeated viewings it's not really that good. But, you know, it's definitely regarded as an Italian horror classic. More contemporary stuff, and another creepy one called Darkness. This is on some supernatural ghost movie type shit, and yes, it's a very good one. Dark Shadows. This is one of the probably only, very few anyway, TV series remakes that came out in the early 90s. They were actually, Dark Shadows was like this big horror TV series way back in the days, like the 50s, 60s, 70s, around there, that went on for years, and this was an attempt to remake it. This is really, really great anyway, but they had to cut it off. It had something to do with the Iraq Gulf War, had something to do with money probably, or airtime or something, so that unfortunately they cut it off. So this is season 1, and that's the only season they got to make, unfortunately, but still worth having, man. Dark Shadows, such a great TV series, and a great remake as well. More Asian horror, Dark Water. This is decent, no more no less. Yeah, you know, that newer wave of Asian horror movies following in the footsteps of The Ring, Ringu, and all that. And it's a decent one. It's not a must-have, but it's good. Some of y'all probably were like, blasphemy, when I didn't have Dawn of the Dead on Blu-ray, but that's because I have this box set on DVD. That's like the ultimate edition. That is so super duper nice. I really haven't felt the need to upgrade. I probably will at some point anyway, but this got all 3 versions, you know, the regular one, the extended cut, and the Dario Argento cut as well, of this great George A. Romero and Dario Argento movie, Dawn of the Dead, with the awesome Goblin soundtrack and stuff. It's a great horror movie. It's gory, it's funny, it's got comedy elements to it and everything. It's one of the all-time best, and I guess one of most horror fanatics' all-time favorite movies, this one, Dawn of the Dead. Keep it moving with the follow-up, Day of the Dead. Of course, the final chapter in George A. Romero's zombie trilogy, that one. Great addition, this one as well. You got this cover that you can slip open and everything there. It's one of the original anchor base. Day of the Dead, many people's favorite in the Dead trilogy. I still think Dawn of the Dead is the best, but yeah, this is absolutely a great one. Back to Italy we go, with a Japanese, really rare, obscure release on DVD of this one, called Death Laid an Egg. Now, that's a crazy movie, man. It's a giallo type movie, but try to make some sense out of that, I say. It's a really well done and stylish 70s Italian movie anyway, and yeah, I don't know if I could say if this is good or not, man. It's just really, really bizarre, but if that's your cup of tea, then you definitely should grab that one. I think it's out on Blu-ray now as well. On to what's the biggest Norwegian horror classic. This one came out in the early 60s, I think 60 or 62. And in Norwegian it's called De Dødes Tjern, roughly translated to English that would be Lake of the Dead. I think you can actually find this on YouTube with English subtitles, and you should definitely check this out. It's like a mystery ghost type movie. It's real creepy and scary, and a big classic. And for a long time, until they started dropping like Dead Snow and those type of movies, this was regarded the only Norwegian horror movie. There's a couple others, really old ones, really hard to get, obscure ones that I have downloaded or have on VHS, but this is the well-known classic right here. And the guy who's in the lead role here, Henke Kolstad, he's actually visited here at this very house that I'm sitting in right now. He's dead now, so I hope he doesn't haunt me or anything, alright? Yeah. Lake of the Dead, anyway. Great Norwegian classic, pick it up. Another awesome classic, we move it back to Italy. Dario Argento, in my opinion, his best movie. The Giallo/horror Deep Red, or Profondo Rosso. Needs no explanation, most horror fans know about this. Also got mystery Giallo elements and creepy horror elements as well. Like, you know, ghost stuff, clairvoyant and everything. And this is awesome, man. Dario Argento is my second favorite director after John Carpenter, and he's up there close with him. And, you know, really great director from Italy, Mr. Dario Argento. Of course, Profondo Rosso is also a famous horror store in Rome, in Italy, run by Luigi Cassi. Of course, he directed Contamination, and he runs the Profondo Rosso store. In the basement there, you can see a lot of the effects and the monsters and stuff that they used for Dario Argento and other Italian filmmakers' movies. We keep it in Italy, of course. This is Lamberto Bava's Demons, the first one, just a fun zombie demon type movie, that one. Another great Italian 80s classic. And the almost as great Demons 2 as well. Yeah, those are good, man. Those are good fun, definitely. The first Demons, it has a really extended Italian version. I don't think that's even been out on DVD or Blu-ray. I could be wrong, but I have it on VHS. It's only in Italian language, and it's quite a lot longer. I think something like 20 minutes longer than this regular version of Demons there, but I haven't been able to find the extended version on Blu-ray yet. If you know something, holla. Definitely I'd like to have that. Bring it back to the first horror movie, first feature-length full horror movie I ever saw anyway. The first one I ever saw was The Mummy's Ghost on Super 8mm way back in the day. Scared the shit out of me when I was like 5 years old, but still got me interested in horror. So when we got a video player back in late 82, early 83, somewhere around there, this was the first movie I used to rent a lot. It's The Devil's Reign with Ernest Borgnine playing the devil, or at least a demon from hell in this one. It's man, it's a funny one, and it's a really cool one too. This has John Travolta in it too, and that was his movie debut back in the mid-70s. Also Anton LaVey of the Church of Satan. They actually filmed at the Church of Satan in this one, and Anton LaVey is listed as a supervisor. This is out in a new Blu-ray edition now that I've just ordered. I don't have it yet, but I'm gonna get it soon with a lot of extra material, so that's gonna be fun. Revisiting The Devil's Reign once again, a real moody, creepy, occult-themed horror movie, that one. Moving on to a werewolf flick, recent one called Dog Soldiers. Yeah, definitely pick it up if you don't have it. It's a lot of fun. Then we have another 70s classic called Don't, or possibly be early 80s maybe, called Don't Look Now. It's very creepy. One of the creepiest movies, this one. Got a great score by Italian composer Pino Donaggio as well. Yeah, it's on some ghost, killer, supernatural shit, all that, man. It's a creepy one. Not one to watch alone at night in the dark, that's for sure. Moving on to kind of a special Dario Argento flick, this one. It's a TV series that they ran in Italy in the 70s called Door into Darkness, where that was presented by Dario Argento, and I think he directed all or most of these. I think there's like four stories in this one. One of them is okay, the three others are really good, so this is definitely one to pick up. It's from Dragon Entertainment, I think that was a German company, and this is an old edition, so it's probably hard to get now. But yeah, if you can still, and out of print I'm sure, but if you can still find this, just grab this, man. It's really, really great. I think it's on Blu-ray too now. Then we have a classic Tobe Hooper movie, rest in peace, R.I.P. to Tobe Hooper as well. This is along the lines of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's Death Trap Eaten Alive. It's not as great as that one, but probably just as infamous back in the Video Nasty Hysteria days. It's another like dirty, grimy 70s horror flick that you should own. On to another of the all-time best classic series there. We got the Evil Dead, the full uncut version right here. They're awesome. That's all I have to say about it. Don't need to talk about the plot. Y'all know Evil Dead. Then I got Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. I only have the third one, Army of Darkness, on VHS. Here's a compilation called Evil Places. It has 4 movies on it. Silent Night, Bloody Night, which is not the same as Silent Night, Deadly Night, but a really good Christmas-themed horror as well. Then you have Don't Look in the Basement, Satan's School for Girls, and House on Haunted Hill, the original. So this is 4 nice movies that was given to me as a Christmas present by my good friend Celine. Thank you very much, back in the days. We have here The Exorcist, the complete anthology on DVD. This contains Dominion, the prequel, The Exorcist 2, The Exorcist 3, and Exorcist the Beginning. The best one besides the original Exorcist here must be, I'm trying to get enough lighting here now, must be The Exorcist 3. It's quite good and quite creepy. You know that nurse scene? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, man. That's The Exorcist, one of my very favorite all-time movies, that one. Another Italian giallo called Labyrinth des Schreckens, that's in German, so this is a German edition DVD, and this is Eyeball, a solid giallo. Definitely it's been a while since I've seen this, but yeah, a good one. Moving on to a contemporary giallo that was said to bring the giallo movies back. I don't think it quite managed, but it's Eyes of Crystal, Fear is in the Eye of the Beholder. I didn't really like this one. A lot of people do. You should check it out. Try before you buy, I guess. Another giallo, this one. I hope you can see this now. It's getting dark up in the corner here, but this is one with Franco Nero. It's a good one called The Fifth Chord, real obscure Japanese DVD edition that I'm sure is long out of print and all that. Another Italian giallo, The Forbidden Photos of a Lady Above Suspicion. It's an okay giallo, it's not a must by any means. Then we have another Argento giallo, his third one. Dario Argento's lost masterpiece, Four Flies on Grey Velvet. A lost masterpiece because this was really, really hard to get in decent quality for a long time. I remember video VHS editions back in the days. They looked really bad and stuff, so and they weren't complete, but this DVD version is. When the flies start to crawl, so will your flesh. Long live the new flesh. Four Flies on Grey Velvet, Dario Argento movie. Not as good as Bird with the Crystal Plumage, but I think it's better than Cat o' Nine Tails. This has quite a lot of comedy elements in it, as well as being a creepy mystery thriller. So definitely worth a watch. It's not a must-own unless you're an Argento completist like I am. But yeah, a good one. I like it. I like it, definitely. Then we have one of the most classic franchises, probably the most well-known besides Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween. It is, of course, Friday the 13th, From Crystal Lake to Manhattan, the Ultimate Edition DVD collection. This is like the first DVD collection that came out. I heard there was some problems with the covers on the second edition, so I didn't buy that. So yeah, I still got this one. They look good though. I found that a lot of the old movies, unless they're like really cleaned up and everything, they don't look that much better on Blu-ray, honestly. But that all depends on how they restore the movies and everything. But anyway, you know it, man. Jason with a hockey mask and just real fun slashers out of Camp Blood, Camp Crystal Lake coming at ya. Next up, a bit of a horror comedy, this one, by Peter Jackson. This is one he did after his Gorefest, Brain Dead, aka Dead or Alive, and Bad Taste, and also Meet the Feebles. And it's The Frighteners, starring Michael J. Fox. A real fun ghost comedy, this one. Yep, we're almost done with shelf one. I'm just put it up here. This is an Australian Region 4 import DVD of a great anthology called The Offspring, aka From a Whisper to a Scream, and you got Vincent Price up in here with his head off. Rest in peace to Vincent Price too, definitely, and it's a great anthology horror movie. Not well known, but definitely want to check out this one, From a Whisper to a Scream. Moving on to contemporary French horror movie, one of the most famous new wave of French movies. They got a name for that, like the Horrible Five or so. I don't remember exactly the name of it, but there was a wave a few years ago, around the mid-2000s, of like great French horror movies, and this is my favorite of them. This, I think, is the best, called Frontiers. Some borders shouldn't be crossed ever, and you will see why if you watch this movie. It's definitely a great one. That's all I'm saying about that. Moving on to some more horror comedy, we had The Frighteners. Now we have the original horror comedy classic, well, not counting like the old Dark House and like the 20s movies and everything, but in modern times. Back to the 80s, this is a collection of Ghostbusters 1 and 2. They're good fun, man, they're still good fun. Some of the effects, especially towards the end on the first one, is really dated and really bad. By nowadays. I haven't seen the remake. I'm not a huge fan of remakes. I sometimes watch them, sometimes I don't bother. I heard this was really bad, but the original Ghostbusters 1 and 2, good fun, definitely. Last one on this row before I take a little break, but I'll be back with more, trust me on that. Bring you back to Italy for the last DVD on row 1. This is The White Shadow Norway and my complete horror movie DVD collection, so it's the biggest and best part of my horror movie collection. This is La Casa 3, or Ghost House. It's the uncut version, even if it is on Vitco's Vaults of Horror. They used to cut their movies. This is a nice, creepy Italian ghost flick here, La Casa 3, Ghost House. We keep it moving with what is probably the creepiest ghost movie of all time. It's actually a TV movie from the UK called Ghost Watch, that they aired on BBC on Halloween back in the mid-80s, I guess. And it had real news reporters in it, and it was portrayed as being a true story. So, and they believed in it. A lot of people believed in it in the UK back then. So they thought it was actually a ghost attack on the city, and that the whole city was possessed and haunted, and it broke out a national panic when airing this on TV, because it was a prank, but they, like I said, they portrayed it as if it was actually happening, actually real, and a lot of people believed in it, caused a national panic, and caused this to be shelved forever and always until they dug it up for a DVD release. The absolute scariest ghost movie, I'll say, Ghost Watch, and one of my definite favorites as well. Keep it moving. We are going to Italy again with the master Mario Bava in what is said to be the very first Giallo movie. The Girl Who Knew Too Much, from way back in the, I don't remember exactly the year. Let me see if I can find out here. You probably just look it up on IMDb, but I think it's late 50s or early 60s at the absolute earliest. I can't see a year back here. Nah, it only says 2000, which is when the DVD dropped. But from the Mario Bava collection, a great Giallo, The Girl Who Knew Too Much, sort of a take on Alfred Hitchcock's The Man Who Knew Too Much, this one. Then we got what's probably the rarest DVD in my collection. It's one of the X-rated cult cinema out of Germany hard boxes in the 666 series. Limited to, I'm not sure if this was like 66 copies, but I think that's it. If it was that many, I'm not sure at all. Mine is, yeah, here it is. Dark Special FSK Collector's Edition, 66 pieces. Yeah, I think mine is number 25 or something like that. It's numbered on the inside, but it's the Grim Reaper, aka Anthropophagus the Beast, horror movie and video nasty, directed by porn director Joe D'Amato, X-rated, my man. He directed mostly porn movies, but he was also a horror movie director and has a handful of good ones, and this is one of those. Anthropophagus the Beast, aka Grim Reaper. This one came out in 3 different covers as well. I only have this one, but it's still probably my rarest, or one of the rarest movies in my collection anyway. Back to the US we go with a classic Halloween and the 25 anniversary edition, 25-year edition anniversary DVD of this one. Not going to talk about it much because I talked about it enough when I did the Blu-rays. So we put it back in the shelf as we pull out Halloween 2 with the beautiful original cover artwork there as well. This is the earliest DVD edition, I believe, of Halloween 2, at least in the UK. Got a great commentary track here too by some big time horror aficionados, and it's from the people who brought you Halloween, More of the Night He Came Home, which is of course a direct follow-up from the first one, so you can watch the first Halloween and this one as one movie, actually one long movie, because the story in this one picks up right where the first one left, and it's a great sequel as well to the original Halloween, Halloween 2. So, no big surprise, the next one then is Halloween 3, the season of the witch, the night no one came home. Production and music by John Carpenter in this one as well. A lot of people slam this because Michael Myers is not in it and stuff, but what John Carpenter intended was a series of Halloween movies where Michael was going to die in the first one. He wasn't going to return, so he planned a different story for every Halloween movie, and so this is more in line with John Carpenter's original idea, though producers and the people probably demanded that Michael Myers kind of came back for Halloween Part 2. But this is a different story. No Michael Myers, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, with like a Halloween curse via Halloween masks and the famous Silver Shamrock commercial that I gotta watch every Halloween. It's just to get in the right mood. The mood is just really classic for Halloween, that one. Halloween number 3. We skip to Halloween Resurrections. I don't have 4, 5, etc. Those are better movies than this one, but yeah, I worked at the video store back then and we got this on import, so I grabbed it. Halloween Resurrections stars Busta Rhymes, and as most of y'all know, having MCs or rappers in horror movies is usually not a good idea. They don't really do all that well, but he does okay, man, and Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. It's take it for what it is. It's good fun. It's stupid at times in recent horror movie, but you know, it's okay. It's not total crap holy or anything. To the UK we go with the Hammer Studios, Hammer House of Horror. This is not the old school ones like Frankenstein or Dracula or the Wolfman or any of that. This is a newer set of horror stories. That was a TV series back in the 70s. You got witches, you got ghosts, you got goblins, you got everything in this Hammer House of Horror, and it's great episodes in this and really slept on, not that well known either. It's cool, creepy UK made for TV Hammer House of Horror series box set right there. Speaking of box sets, here's a really big one. Another TV series is seen on the Discovery Channel. It's a Haunting Seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4 about real life hauntings and real life ghost stories and stuff. Whether you believe in that stuff or not, I don't know. I do. I've seen stuff. I've heard stuff. I'm not going to get into that much now, but yeah, I do more than believe, man. I know. Trust me. So this is like real life ghost stories there in the Haunting series. Very, very nice. I still have yet to see some of these because there's so many discs and so many episodes, but the ones I've seen is really great. This is where the original Haunting in Connecticut came from, by the way. So awesome box set to have there. Keep it on the ghost tip with one of the all-time biggest classics. My grandmother, rest in peace to my dear grandmother, and much love to you. She used to tell me about this movie back in the days and how it scared the shit out of her seeing this in the theater. It's the classic Robert Wise production, The Haunting. You may not believe in ghosts, but you cannot deny terror. Yes, one of the absolute best ghost movies and one of the creepiest ones as well there from back in the days. If you like ghost stuff, you gotta have this, man. Gotta have this, The Haunting. It's excellent, and that's all there is to it. Keep it back in the days, and even more back in the days. I think this came out in like 1919 or something, like early 20s at the latest. This is a Scandinavian horror movie called Häxan, Witchcraft Through the Ages, from the Criterion Collection, which is exactly what it is. It's a documentary type style film movie about different types of occultism and witchcraft and witches and Satanism and stuff like that. It's a real interesting documentary and holds up well to be that old. One of the first movies I copped on DVD too, way back in the days, probably out of print now, but probably re-released on Blu-ray, or at least a newer DVD edition. Next up, we got the Hellraiser franchise, one of the best horror franchises from like the late 80s, early 90s. That I'm actually not a huge fan of the first Hellraiser, I got to say. It has its moments, the Jesus wept scene and everything. But my favorite out of the series is Hellraiser 2, Hellbound. It's more of a gross out, it's got more gore, it's got more action in it. I just like this one better, man, that's just my opinion. So, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, on original US DVD from Anchor Bay, baby. Keep it Anchor Bay with this one. A not so well known slasher, even though it stars the beautiful Linda Blair in Hell Night, Pray for Day. You better, because it's Hell Nights. Pretty creepy slasher type movie, this one, that you definitely should have. You might not have this. This is, like I said, pretty slept on. So if you don't, grab it. If you have, cherish. It's a good one. Probably out of print in that edition too as well now. Back to Italy we go with a real trashy zombie movie called Hell of the Living Dead, directed by Bruno Mattei, one of the more trashy directors as well. He stole both from the soundtrack and scenes from the movie Dawn of the Dead. You might remember this guy, and other movies for this, and mixed his own stuff in there. So this is like I don't know, he like sampled with his movie footage and stuff like that. It's a little trashy, but it's yeah, it's a fun movie anyway, man. Hell of the Living Dead. Zombie flick. Moving on to a movie loved by many, but actually not so much by me. I think it's good. I just don't think it's everything that it's hyped up to be, but it's good enough for me to own. And yeah, like I said, a lot of fans of this movie, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, starring Michael Rooker, who does an excellent job as the serial killer Henry, and that's one. Moving on to an old school Scandinavian art flick, directed by Ingmar Bergman, starring Max von Sydow from Sweden and Liv Ullmann, what up, from Norway. Hour of the Wolf, or Vargtimmen in Swedish, this one. It's a very strange movie. I couldn't really get into it. It's highly regarded a classic. I just couldn't really get into it, man. But if you like your movies weird, and definitely great performances by actors and stuff like that, and of course great directing by Ingmar Bergman, this is one you should pick up. But beware that it's really, really strange. Back to the UK we go with the Amicus collection, the studio that dripped blood. This is an anthology movie called The House That Dripped Blood, starring Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. Rest in peace to both y'all. Did great work in horror legends forever, and this is probably the best one on Amicus, or one of the best anyway, the best anthology, The House That Dripped Blood. Pick it up if you're into old school 60s, 70s style Hammer UK horror movies. And back to Italy we go with Ruggero Deodato's follow-up to Cannibal Holocaust, though it has nothing to do with Cannibal Holocaust plot-wise or otherwise. This is House on the Edge of the Park, more of a revenge slash giallo slash mystery type flick there, starring Johnny Morgan and David Hess, doing their best work as psychos ever in this one. They're just perfect for these parts, and they tear it up, man. They're awesome. This is a great movie, but it's one that's really dirty. It kind of makes you feel like taking a shower, I guess, after you've seen it as well. But it's really a lot of fun too, but really sleazy and dirty and nasty. Got a great disco soundtrack in this that I love as well. The House on the Edge of the Park, a must-have for any Italian horror collection or any horror collection at all, I would say. We are going to keep it in Italy with Pupi Avati's masterpiece, scary, creepy movie, The House with Laughing Windows, from the old school Euroshock collection DVDs, this one. If you don't have this, just buy it, that's all I'm saying. Real spooky, real great Italian horror, that one. Moving on to more recent times with I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. You got the first one, I Know What You Did Last Summer. You got the second, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And the third and the last one, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Slammed by many. I think this slasher trilogy is a lot of fun. It's in the style of Urban Legends or Scream. And yeah, it's just fun, man. I Know What You Did Last Summer. You have a good time with this, definitely. Then we're back to Italy once again, and again and again and again, with the horror maestro Dario Argento. We're getting some sun out here, which is good for the lighting, oh yes. And his second installment in the Mothers trilogy, it's Inferno on DVD with the original artwork, poster artwork here. It's just another great Argento classic that everyone should own, especially if you're into Italian horror stuff like I am. Moving to the US, and a slasher classic called Initiation. Be young, stay young, and die young. This was the original VHS cover artwork for this, with like the candle girls, a great one. The movie is not a great one, it's a decent 80s slasher, this one, The Initiation. If you're a slasher completist or a slasher fan, you should own that one. Back again to the same wastelands, ghostly wastelands as The Haunting. We got Deborah Kerr in The Innocents, which is like the other big old school haunted house ghost movie classic besides The Haunting, The Innocents. Great performance by Deborah Kerr, and the spooky, creepy kids as well in this one there. I was talking about the Others with Nicole Kidman in the Blu-ray video, and this is like the original story for that one, very similar, and but creepier, I would say, or at least as creepy as one of the scariest ghost movies of all time, The Innocents. Definitely a big classic. More slasher mania here. Intruder, directed by Scott Spiegel. These are got Bruce Campbell in it, you got Sam Raimi in it. These are like the crew of filmmakers and actors surrounding Sam Raimi back in the Evil Dead days, and this is quite different from that. It's at a shopping mall, or shopping mall Intruder, and it's a really gory slasher movie. That's a good one, a great one, definitely must have that one. On to an obscure gore classic video nasty, Island of Death, also called Island of Perversion, the movie that the censors don't want you to see. Uncut version here, collector's edition, old school DVD. Really good and really sleazy. I mean, really nasty as well. You gotta be able to take some heavy shit to sit through this one, I think. It's even though it's a little dated back in the 70s, but Island of Death, it's recommended classic horror movie if you can sit through some gruesome shit. And I guess that goes for the next one as well. I Spit on Your Grave, aka Day of the Woman, like a rape revenge film, one of the most infamous ones right here. One of the video nasties, and a nasty one for real. I Spit on Your Grave, old school Millennium Edition on Elite Entertainment, awesome one. We got more giallo coming up. Obscure, lost Italian, lost giallo classic, like it says there. I think this was actually directed by Luigi Cassi, if I'm not, yeah. Luigi Cassi, who runs the Profondo Rosso store in Rome, Italy. This one who did the Contamination movie as well, directed The Killer Must Kill Again. A really superb and relentlessly nasty little film, it says down here. I say it's a decent giallo. no more no less. Not a must-have, but a nice addition to any Italian horror movie collection, and a definite must-have for Giallo completists, which I am one of as well. Then you have the original 1930s King Kong movie. Oh yes, the effects were so ahead of its time in this one, man. It's really, really, really great. Gotta have one of these biggest classics in the collection. Then we have a ghost movie called The Lady in White. This was a weird one, man. This was like, in style, this is more like a Steven Spielberg type movie, like Goonies or something like that. I didn't really like it that much. I like Goonies, but nah, I didn't think this was that great. I thought it would have been better. It's like a PG style ghost story. It's okay though in parts, I guess. Then you have another obscure, haunting, supernatural one called Lemora, A Child's Tale of the Supernatural. Pretty good. A little too hyped up though. I caught this off rave reviews from a lot of horror fans, and not a lot, but some, and I was a little disappointed, but it's nice to have, man. Probably a rare one too by now. Back to classic ghost movies we go with The Legend of Hell House, a 70s creepy, scary ghost movie, that one. Yup. Then we have the contemporary classic, what is probably the best contemporary horror movie, straight out of Sweden, so right down the block from me, as I'm from Norway. This is the White Shadow Norway and my horror DVD collection. It's Låt den rätta komma in, or Let the Right One In. Of course, the kid who meets this awesome vampire girl, and she wreaks havoc all over the place, and it's just an awesome retro, back to the 80s type movie. They even got Flash in the Night by Secret Service, a great 80s disco classic on the soundtrack of this one. Is if you're gonna buy one horror movie that was made in the after 2000, let this be the one. Let the right one in, and this is the right one, my friends. Next up, a box set that is only arguably horror. It's more like a samurai martial arts type series with horror elements. Of course, you got the famous Video Nasty Shogun Assassin. But these are the 6 original movies here, the complete Lone Wolf and Cub, as it was called, box set or baby cart. Just a great samurai movie series, this one. The absolute best, I would say. Yeah, as we keep it moving, it got dark, but worry not, because I got my headlights on. Another classic slasher right here, Madman, about the Madman Mars. They thought they were alone in the woods, and they were not. Just a classic low-budget slasher, this one. I need some space, I'll put it up there for a while. Not a classic slasher. Joe Spinell stars in the excellent Maniac. I warned you not to go out tonight. Dope effects, of course, by the legendary effects maker Tom Savini in this. Maniac, another horror classic. It was remade, I haven't seen it, but a lot of people say it's good. So, sooner or later, you must leave the theater and go home, perhaps alone. You might face the Midnight Ripper there. This is another X-rated cult German horror box of an Italian giallo, more recent, like mid-late 80s giallo, and it's a quite good one actually. Midnight Ripper, pretty damn nice. Then we got the Stephen King adaptation, the classic The Mist, best viewed in black and white, or so the directors say. I only watched it in color, but it was great then too. That ending fucking bangs hard, man. It kicks ass so hard. The Mist, a great contemporary horror movie, Stephen King adaptation. Grab it, grab it, grab it. Creature feature, monster type stuff there, with a banging ending, like I said. On to the third installment in Dario Argento's Mothers trilogy. It is called The Mother of Tears, or La Terza Madre in Italian, or something like that. I don't really speak Italian, so excuse my pronunciation of that, but Mother of Tears. Not up there with Suspiria and Inferno, the first two installments in the Mother's trilogy, but it is a good one and quite gory to be Argento. Actually, more like a Fulci film when it comes to gore, I would say. Hardcore gore to be Argento. Pretty good recent Argento flick, that one. Moving on to another genius director, David Lynch, of course, and this is one of his masterpieces, Mulholland Drive. It's a maniacal thrill and one of the year's best. It's a really good one and a really weird one. You really got to pay attention, and you probably still won't be able to figure out the full thing. You know, it's one of those mindfuck movies. Bring it down to another classic slasher. Unfortunately, I don't have the very uncut version there, and it's starting to go out of print now, so I'm actually struggling a bit on getting it, but sooner or later I'll get it. It's probably come out on Blu-ray again or something. Anyway, my Blood on It Bloody Valentine, about the crazy miner killer, and them going crazy in the mines and stuff like that, with his headlight on, just like me. Whoa. Classic slasher, many people's favorite, and justifiably so. It's a really good one. Back to Scandinavia we go, with the Danish classic Nattevakten, or I think it's called Night Watch in English. A great serial killer, psycho killer type movie out of Denmark there from the 90s. Definitely grab this one. Special mention to the crazy tune that the killer plays when he does his nasty thing. There's really, really creepy children's song going on that underlines how much of a psycho the killer in this movie is. Definitely a classic out here of the 90s, this one, Nattevakten. Next up, The Night Evelyn came out, the Grave uncut version, early DVD version, this one. Actually letterboxed, The Worms Are Waiting. This is, I think it's an Italian flick too, this, if I'm not mistaken. There's a Giallo-ish Eurotrash movie anyway. Pretty good, not among the best, not among the worst. It's a good one. Keep in Italy with another classic horror movie called Night of the Devils. This got the full Verdelak, this is the full Verdelak story, Verdelak from Mario Bava's Black Sabbath. And this is actually a bootleg from Midnight Video. It still works pretty well though. Got this many years ago, really hard to get movie. Back in the day anyway. More Fulci, and probably his most vile, most gore and sleazy movie right here. Serial psycho killer flick called The New York Ripper, totally banned everywhere. One of the video nasties as well. They had this shipped out on the first boat from England, but of course they never really got rid of it. Regarded a horror classic nowadays, New York Ripper. It's a really good one. But you got to be able to take strong violence and stuff if you're going to sit through this one, that's for sure. The worst scenes are really bad. Keep you in Italy with something as rare as a fast-moving zombie movie, Nightmare City or City of the Walking Dead. I wonder if this is where they grabbed the Walking Dead title from for the TV series. That's a pretty good contemporary horror for TV, to be made for TV anyway. But this is an Italian original. Umberto Lenzi directed this, Nightmare City. A really short, action-packed zombie movie, and really cool, quite gory as well. Back to the USA we go, with the original and really the only one out of the Nightmare on Elm Street series I really like. The third one gets a lot of praise. I've only seen that once back in the day, so I think I need to go back and rewatch that one. A couple of the other ones are okay as well, number 2 and number 4 and some others, but the first one is the best one in my humble opinion. A Nightmare on Elm Street by Wes Craven. Really fun 80s movie, slasher, of course, this one. Y'all know it, it's mad well known. Next up, Night of the Living Dead. The first one in George A. Romero's zombie trilogy, of course, or Dead trilogy. This one from 1968, a really controversial movie when it dropped back then, because people had never seen anything like this before. Not quite this gory and scary too. I guess it's a really great classic movie, this one by George Romero. Unfortunately, this version has some new parts filmed in black and white and edited in. I don't understand why they did that. They man, it's just atrocious. The people who did that, they should just feed them to the zombies for doing that. So it's but at least it has the whole movie plus those bullshit newer scenes. So at least you get the full movie with this edition, and you can buy it in other editions now in its original form. Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero's first Dead Zombie Trilogy movie. Bring you way back to the 1920s with this one, F.W. Murnau's German Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. That's another movie that almost got lost. I think it was banned because there was a problem with Bram Stoker, who wrote the Dracula novel, or his lawyers or something, and they had to stop. They had to stop showing this in theaters and stuff back in the days, not to get sued. So. And I think they demanded that the prints be destroyed, and most of them were, but they found a couple, and they managed to splice it and paste it back together again, so that we could see it. Just imagine how sad it would have been that if this big classic never would have seen the light of day, or the dark of nights, for that matter. Nosferatu. It's a great movie. It holds up well today, even if it's a silent movie made in the 20s. It's really, really creepy. Got a creepy feel to it, man. There's something about back in the days and filmed in black and white and stuff that's just so different from our world nowadays that it comes out real creepy and scary. Then we have the Werner Herzog German remake of Nosferatu, starring Klaus Kinski as the vampire and Isabella Gianni as the victim down here. Nosferatu the Vampire, or the Vampire. It's a couple of versions of it on this UK Anchor Bay DVD edition, and it's also a really, really great one. It's a little bit artsy and a little bit slow and stuff like that, so you gotta like your movies a little bit different to get into this one, I believe. But if you can, you will be rewarded, because this is regarded a masterpiece, also like the original Nosferatu, and that I think came out in 1978 or 79. Another all-time favorite of mine, and another great Dario Argento classic, opera, or called Terror at the Opera in the US. That's a shorter version. This is the longer Italian version here. This is Argento at his stylish, horrifying best, it says, and yeah, I can agree to that. It's just an awesome serial killer movie. Pretty spooky, creepy, and vile as well. Looking at her eyes with the needles here. Yeah, if you can take it, watch it. Opera, beautiful movie. Here is another X-rated cult cinema out of Germany, Heartbox. And look at the cover art on this. Is fucking great, man. It's awesome. It's the Paganini horror, based on the violinist Paganini story, this one. The movie absolutely sucks. It's horrible. But the cover artwork is great, and there's a lot of great extras on this, a lot of interviews and stuff with like Luigi Cossi, who directed this, and some footage from the Profondo Rossa store in Italy, Rome, and everything. So the extras is what made me buy this first, and like I thought, the movie really, really sucks. It's trashy as fuck, and it's really, there's nothing good about it, really, honest. But yeah, nice one to have in the collection for the extras, and the cover of the musical Maniac Paganini up here. Then we have another quite rare edition from Dragon Entertainment. Here it's called Paratrooper. On this one it's also known as Scarecrows, and it isn't really that great. Yeah, it's a Scarecrow movie. It's okay, no more or less. I always thought it would be better than it actually was when I copped this, so I probably wouldn't have if had I known. But it's okay, and it's a rare one. It's cool to have in the collection anyway. Way back we go. I think this is also 1960 or the beginning of 1960s anyway, there with the classic Peeping Tom, for its time a really controversial movie that actually supposedly destroyed the director Michael Powell's career because of this one. He had real problems because it went too far for its time. This also has the great Anna Massey, R.I.P., rest in peace, starring in it. She does a great job here. She is probably best known from, I think she was in Frenching, the Hitchcock movie, and also she was Mrs. Danvers in the TV version of Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca. And she played it more scary than anyone, man. That TV series you can probably watch on YouTube as well, and it's well worth it. The TV version of Rebecca from 1978, starring Anna Massey. But back to this one, Peeping Tom, controversial movie for its time, and I wouldn't say a great one. You know, its shock value has kind of faded by now, you know, but it's still a solid movie, and one with a lot of history behind it, being as controversial as it was and everything. Back to contemporary horror, and back to the USA we go. Stephen King adaptation Pet Sematary. One of my favorite Stephen King adaptations, this one, an all-round great supernatural type horror movie. You haven't seen this or you don't own this, you gotta have it. Just, you know, run and pick it up. And Pet Sematary, probably can find it in a better version than my DVD version right there now. I know it's out on Blu-ray and everything, so really no excuse not to own Pet Sematary. I also saw that in the theater when it was brand new back in the days. Awesome experience. Back again with Mr. Maestro director Dario Argento. Phenomena, one of his classics here, starring Donald Pleasence. Phenomena, directed by Dario Argento, the Arrow version. Another great Argento movie. Not one of my very favorites by him, but it's up there, man. Supernatural / psycho killer thriller. This one, definitely a dope one. Yeah, Phenomena. Just a couple of more movies left on this row. Then we got one more to go. Bringing you Poltergeist, the movie that certain movie collectors are scared to have because of all the depth surrounding it and stuff. They think it's unpleasant to even have it in a collection, like it's cursed or something. I can understand that. That's all good, man, to each his own, but scared or no, I decided I needed to have it because it's a great classic and actually a lot scarier than I remembered it for being back in the days. Tobe Hooper, who directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, did this one, and it's a lot different. It's a lot more PG rating style of horror, this one. Not violent at all or anything, but pretty scary, and this got Steven Spielberg in on the horror business, so it's really well done and everything. It's a big classic that you need to own if you are not scared of the coming to haunt you, bang on your walls, tear down your walls and stuff like that, make knives fly around and all that good stuff, you know what I mean? Nah, you're probably safe, man. I've had it for years and nothing's happened. Honest. I'm not doing pranks on you right now. That's the name of this one. Average American slasher from the 80s called Pranks. It's good. It's not a must-have. Slasher fanatics and completists, yeah, then it's a must-have. So that's that shelf. And now, my friends, we are finally on the third and the last shelf in the White Shadow Norway Horror DVD collection. Show off, I guess you could say here. Yep, we're gonna have to bring them up like this because of the lighting. Still got my headlights on, so we're all good like that. How about that for a flash? To Germany we go with underground director Olaf Ittenbach. He did the notorious Burning Moon and the even more notorious Black Past. This is one of his later zombie gore violent movies called Permutos, Lord of the Living Dead. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's a cool gore flick. I was more into like super gory stuff back in the days when I was younger, to be honest. its shock value kind of fades as you get older, but it's yeah, it's a nice one, I guess, from Mr. Ittenbach, underground director from Germany, right there. Recent times sci-fi movie to go along with this Blu-ray, the Alien Anthology. This is like a prequel sequel, I guess, Prometheus. I like it. No more, no less. I haven't seen Alien Covenant, not sure if I want to. Is it worth watching? You tell me. I'll probably watch it down the line, but I'm not sure if I'm going to buy it. But this was cool. It's not up there with the Alien movies, it's not that dope, but it's a nice one, man. It's good for a watch or two, definitely. So, next one we pull out is another slasher classic. I thought this was probably a little bit better back in the days, but it's got some great gore scenes courtesy of Tom Savini, and it's a nice slasher, 80s slasher from the US. This one, The Prowler, was called Rosemary's Killer out here in Norway, and it was totally banned back then. It has certain scenes that are pretty gruesome. So, but good slasher fun nonetheless there, from Savini and Co. in The Prowler. More Giallo madness. Not one of the best, but pretty creepy at times, this one, the Pajama Girl case. Your basic 70s Italian Giallo. Pretty nice. Not a must-have either, but yeah, for Giallo completists, it's a must-have. Bringing on to some old movies in recent versions. These were made by Electro City, the company. They made their own heart boxes and stuff. They had a vampire series going on. That was the first ones they dropped out, I believe. And this is a film by Jean Rollin, the famous underground French director, called Rape of the Vampire. Look at this amazing cover art right here, man. Yeah, sleazy as hell and great as hell. The drawings are pretty damn sexy, super gory nice on this one. Not so gory, but all the more sexy. Damn, I better put it away. I might get tempted to do some ish. Another Electro City hardbox. The one I showed you there by Jean Rollin was number 2 in the Vampire series. This is number 3, and another awesome cover. Printed like this. It's another Jean Rollin movie called Requiem for a Vampire, another one of his sexy vampire flicks right there. You tell me you wouldn't like to get bitten by one of these 3 cuties, or maybe this 4th cutie. You'd be lying. You're lying. Nice Heartbook series there anyway from Electro City, all limited. These first ones were limited to 150. This one is number 97, I believe. The other one I had there was number 25, so I got a better number on that one. But yeah, nice weird vampire flicks, I would say, courtesy of Jean Rollin right there with those Electro City heart boxes that are out of print now, I believe. A bona fide horror classic, Reanimator, and the plot is all in the name, man. Reanimating animals, and dead people. And sometimes that turns out like this. Like a human version of the Headless Horseman or whatever right there, man. Reanimator, all horror fans know this, man. It's a classic. I haven't upgraded yet. This is a very nice DVD edition with over 3 hours of special features, as it says there. And Herbert West getting ready to do his thing on there. Good or evil, or both, you decide. Reanimator, one of the all-time best and all-time favorites of mine. And we keep it moving. We keep it moving, baby, baby, moving. Down to Denmark we go with Rike, or Rio. That should be Danish, or the, I don't know, the Realm, I think, in English. It's a Lars von Trier TV movie about a haunted hospital, and yeah, it's really spooky and creepy. I got a part 1 and part 2 of this one. That's the part 1. That's the part 2 right there. So it's about 3 hours long, 3-4 hours long, and really a good haunted hospital movie. One of the few in that style, I believe. On to Asia we go. See it if you dare. Well, do you dare? It's Ringu, or the original for the remake The Ring, which was pretty good as well, but this rocks much harder, knocks much harder, and it makes the Blair Witch Project seem like a stroll in the woods, as it says. Of course, this is the creepy character that shows up during the movie. They did an experiment, I think in Japan or somewhere in Asia, that you can probably watch on YouTube, where they had like a big screen TV and a bunch of girls sitting watching this movie. And when this scene is, when this character comes on, they had like a little box under the TV with somebody dressed up exactly like this and jumping out exactly when this happens in the movie. They jumped out from under the TV, and the girls started screaming, crying, and running. You know, man, it's quite funny actually. Sadistic type of horror fun, I guess you could call that shit. Bring it back to one of the big classics, Roman Polanski again. One of his biggest, my favorite after The Ninth Gate. This one is his classic Rosemary's Baby, starring Mia Farrow. Of course, it's about her carrying out the child that ends up in this dark, black, sinister baby carriage, the Devil's Child. Rosemary's Baby, an awesome classic, great soundtrack that's been sampled by a lot of hip-hop producers as well, so definitely one to grab if you don't have it and if you've never seen it. What you waiting for? Tonight is the night. It's always a good night for a horror night. And we got a little bit of a Stephen King adaptation again here, about the most haunted house in the world, called Rose Red. This is a long, really fun haunted house movie. Definitely must own, I would say, for the haunted house ghost aficionados out there. Just a lot of fun, Rose Red. Get it, get it, get it. Then we got a box set. This is the Saw Collector's Box. Saw is one of my recent horror favorite franchises as well. Saw the Collector's Box includes Saw 1 to 6, all the 6 first movies in this one, and they're all good fun. They're all really gory. The killer got his own way of sadist methods of murder going on, and yeah, oh my god, some of it quite terrible, I must say. Here we go. What's the next one? Yeah, okay, that's Saw, the final chapter in the series. I like them all, man. I think they're all pretty damn good, to be honest. It's a lot of fun. And if you like the fun, really dark and violent, that is. This is the Scream box I was talking about. It's about motherfucking time. Huh! Yeah. Scream, Scream 2, and Scream 3. The first 3 there. They're all great, but of course the original cakes it, grabs the title as the best one, as usual. As it usually is in these horror franchises and stuff. It's the definition of the 90s Scream, as I told you in the Blu-ray video. Back to Italy. Another really great giallo, this one by Umberto Lenzi, called Seven Bloodstained Orchids. It's your basic murder mystery giallo. And it's quite action-packed for a giallo, actually. It's more action-packed than most giallos are, so this is one maybe to play for your friends who's never seen a giallo or Italian horror at all, because I mean it takes some getting used to. They are different. They focus on other stuff than what we are used to with American movies and stuff like that. So that might be a good giallo introduction, or one of the old Argentos like Bird with a Crystal Plumage or Deep Red. Next up, another giallo while we at it. 7 or / Italian horror, 7 Depths in the Cat's Eye. Gory, stylish fun. Really like the settings and the colors and everything on this one. It's eye candy. The movie is eye candy. It's really, really nice to watch like that because of that alone. And the movie, the plot and everything is okay. From the famous company Blue Underground, you know, William Lustig, the main act director is Blue Underground, that kind of picked it up where Anchor Bay left off with horror movies back there for a while. 7 Bloodstained Orchids. Moving on to what's probably the creepiest Asian recent times horror movie. Shudder. They are around us. These ghostly figures start popping up in pictures and stuff like that. It gets really creepy, but then they become alive. They jump out of the pictures to haunt your ass for real. And yeah, man, it's Shudder is great. I think there's a remake of this as well. Haven't seen that, but grab the original. It's awesome. Dope as fuck. That's all I can say about that, really. Then another Brian De Palma classic, Sisters, Criterion Collection. I don't think it's like super duper dope. I like some of his other movies like Carrie and Dressed to Kill better, but it's nice, man. It's a nice classic, definitely. Maybe I need to rewatch that one as well. Yep. What is probably Dario Argento's final great movie, Nono Sono or Sleepless. He's back in his original giallo style with this one, and yeah, the train scenes in the beginning are awesome. The train chase there, victims and killer are great, and definitely a newer Argento that you should not sleep on, though it might keep you sleepless, like it says in the title. No Sleep for Sleepaway Camp either. This is the first one. It's a trilogy. I believe the second or the third one has Bruce Springsteen's sister starring in it, actually. I've only seen the first one. I've heard mixed things about the other two, and but the first one is great, and the ending, oh my god, you won't be going home after you've seen that. Not alone, that's for sure, and this will definitely never be remade with that ending, as it is too un-PC nowadays. Too controversial, I think. Oh yes. Sleepaway Camp, good slasher fun though, and scary as all hit up. What's next? It is another Italian giallo mystery type horror. Something is creeping in the dark. Another midnight video edition. I don't know if you can see that up here. I'll try to show you. Yep, something is creeping in the dark. It's a solid giallo mystery. No more, no less. Same can be said about this one. So Sweet, So Dead. I think this is also a midnight video bootleg release, actually, when that was the only way to get them. So Sweet, So Dead, I think it's out on Blu-ray now though, probably under another title, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's a cool giallo, So Sweet, So Dead as well. One I'm trying to escape in here again. Which one is that? It is the classic Michele Soave's Stage Fright in the giallo series, nonetheless. Yeah, this is an awesome Italian later 80s giallo flick with the very different killer outfit and the owl mask there, running around slashing galore in this giallo slasher movie from Italy. Really awesome. Stage fright. You gotta have this. If you don't, definitely. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a giallo feel to it too, but as much a slasher movie, I would say. To the UK, and of course a bit of a haunting ghost movie going on there. From BFI, they put out a lot of these Ghost Story for Christmas movies. So I got a few of those, man. I'm a big fan of ghost movies. So the Stone Tape, your basic creepy UK 70s made-for-TV haunting movie. And let me see here. I believe we have another X-rated cult cinema title from Germany. Yeah, we do. Another giallo at that, called Die Nacht der Blanken Messe, or Strip Nude for Your Killer in English. Another cool giallo, that one. Yeah, I better not show too much. There's some nudity and stuff. You know how it goes. So there we go. Good giallo, this one. Yeah. That it is. Most death in the mother effing house, y'all. One of the all-time best Italian horror classics, and one of Dario Argento's best as well. This keeps growing on me as Suspiria. It just gets better and better and better and better. And it's essentially about witches. Witches. And the score by Goblin is superb on this, and oh man, it's just such a classic. But you have to be used to your Italian horror because they are different. It's not the type of movies that you're used to seeing in the theaters nowadays. This is from the 70s and everything, so it's for the initiated, definitely. But it's, oh man, just the first 20 minutes alone, man, it just hits so damn hard. It actually doesn't hit as hard after that. I mean, most of the gory scenes and kills, the worst kills, is in the beginning of the movie. But there's so much more to this, man. The style and everything else, man, it's a great example of Italian horror movies, Suspiria, from the master Dario Argento. About halfway in the last shelf here. I better switch my hands again because they get tired. I've been doing this for a minute today. Back to Asia we go with A Tale of Two Sisters. Creepy movie there. Definitely a good one. Yeah. You should check this one out if you haven't. I would say that, definitely. Definitely do that. Then, what's next on the menu? Another great Argento Giallo classic called Tenebrae, or Tenebrae, a film by Dario Argento. This might be a good introduction to Argento for people who haven't seen any of his movies before, as more of a straight up violent crime movie in a way. Not so different as much of the Italian stuff. It's like the style of this one is like somewhere in between an American and an Italian movie. So it might be a good introduction. I'd say this one or Opera, Terror at the Opera. That's probably a good intro for people to Dario Argento. And those were the first two Argento movies I saw, actually. This is a great murder mystery and violent as all hell there. I think this was banned as well back in the days. Tenebrae from the Master Dario Argento. Next is the Norwegian version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre called Motorsagmassakren. Endelig frihet uten klipp. That means finally totally uncut. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's some nice extras in this. I've kept this because of that and because it's the Norwegian version, and it was banned in Norway for ages, and they freed it for release in the early 2000s. Actually, it took that long before you could legally own a copy of this, and it was quite it was quite a video nasty hysteria in Norway too, and several other European countries, just like as in the UK it wasn't quite as crazy. But you know what they did? They promoted these violent horror movies, and they made us kids especially want to watch and seek them out and watch them. So it was the best promo, actually, the video nasty hysteria. It actually got us into these type of movies. Then I have the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like I've probably said multiple times, I'm not a huge fan of remakes, but this one is a pretty good remake. It's one of the best ones, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Quite alike the original Tobe Hooper one, but with twists all over the place. I like it, man. It's a good remake. That one and Dawn of the Dead remake is probably my favorites, to be honest. I haven't seen everything. I keep hearing good things about the Hills of Ice remake, so I'm gonna have to check that one out one of these days. Then, keep it in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Dennis Hopper in this one, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Still more gory and violent probably than the original, and also some comedy elements, a lot of fun. It's been years and years since I've seen this one, so I need to revisit that one, definitely. Then we have a great old classic, 13 Ghosts. This has 3D glasses in it, probably inside the cover, but this has 3D glasses in the movie, so you can it's like a ghost glasses. You watch on one side of the glasses, you can see the ghosts, and the other one you can chicken out, you don't see the ghosts. 13 Ghosts, a nice, this is the original. They made a horrible remake in the early 2000s, but this is horrible in my opinion anyway. I mean, to each his own, no problemo there, but to me this is definitely the superior one. It's a good fun ghost movie. I mean, not up there in quality with The Haunting or The Innocents or, you know, the big classics, but it's a nice one to own, man. More Giallo Madness, Torso. This is praised by a lot of people, Torso. I don't think it's really awesome, but it's a solid Giallo. No more, no less. Sergio Martino, one of his several Giallo movies. Just making sure I get everything here now because it's kind of hard to see down here, but I think we got it. Back to America we go. This is a different one with killer mannequins, tourist trap, and pretty creepy one at that. Imagine the mannequins coming alive and they're out to get you. Yeah, tourist trap, man. It's a good one. It's a good one. Kind of not really that well known. Okay, among horror collectors, yeah, but among other people, I believe, not that well known. Yeah, it's getting kind of hard to see here because I'm sitting way above it. Another childhood favorite about a haunted island, a monster creature feature type thing, and a monster loose on an island here. Tower of Evil. They came, they saw, and they died. Tower of Evil coming at you now. Yeah. Alright, man. BS aside, man, it's a nice 70s UK horror movie, this one, Tower of Evil. Definitely give that one a shot if you've never seen it. That's a must-own to me and a favorite from way back in the days. Early years of video, VCRs out here. Recent Dario Argento, Trauma. It's great. And that's all I got to say about that. It's not a masterpiece. It's not bad. It's better than good. It's worse than a masterpiece, and it's yeah, it's Dario. It's worth a watch, worth own if you're a Dario Argento completist. I'm going to have to upgrade my Argento collection to Blu-ray one of these days, but we shall see when that happens. But sooner or later, I did it with the Best of Bullshit ones. I'm going to do it with the Argento ones too. Oh boy, a great anthology because of the last movie, especially. There's like 3 segments in this, but the this little fellow comes along in the last one, Trilogy of Terror. Such fun, man. It's like a 20-25 minute segment, but this doll just kills it. There's a second one too with another segment with this doll, and it's really good too, and this one being the best though. Very nice, man. If you just want to see a short horror movie that kicks ass for like 15-20 minutes, this is the last segment in Trilogy of Terror, starring the great Karen Black, rest in peace by the way, is incredibly awesome. And is this an awesome one? Yeah, it's a pretty good one. This is like a remake of The Innocents. Is the original title of the story behind The Innocents, actually The Turn of the Screw. So it's the exact same story, but updated to a 70s style movie. And yeah, it's a TV movie, I believe, from the UK, and it's a pretty rare one, I think, and a good one. A good adaptation of the Innocents right there. Then we have another box set with what is arguably my favorite TV series of all time, David Lynch's Twin Peaks. He did a season 3 now. I've only seen 3 episodes yet. I thought it was great, but for some reason I just haven't, you know, been in any hurry to see the rest of it. I don't know. This is really good. I guess it's because so much stuff is going on, both with the music and everything, you know, that I work on, and there's so much stuff to watch and listen to and stuff too, so like you keep pushing things back in line, you know. But yeah, eventually I will watch it, and the first 2 seasons are awesome. Bob, man, as one creepy character, still freaks me out to this day sometimes, man. Twin Peaks. Yeah. Genius director David Lynch, one of his many masterpieces, this one. Twin Peaks. This is a really good vampire classic. This is the first one too in the Electro City Heartbox vampire movie series, and it's a this is awesome, man. It's one of the best back in the days vampire movies from like the 70s. This one, Twins of Evil. If you're into vampire movies, this is not among the most well known, but definitely grab this if you like the old Hammer Draculas and stuff like that, man. This is a really good vampire movie right there. Then we have another Criterion. It's a Dutch movie. George Lutzer's The Vanishing. A great thriller, none the less. No more, no less than a great thriller, The Vanishing. This is an American remake of this as well. This is called Spoorloos. That's the original Dutch title of this one. But there's an American remake too, I think, called The Vanishing, or it has another title. But yeah, I'm not going to go into detail because it'll ruin it for you if you haven't seen it, as it's kind of a whodunit type movie, so mystery movie. So, but yeah, not so much horror, more thriller on this one, but a good one. Really good one. Then we have the documentary is about Video Nasties. This has been much talked about, Video Nasties, you know, in the UK. I've talked about them a lot here too. I got a good number on this. Is number 155, is a limited edition. So this is part one about all the banned movies and during the Video Nasties hysteria in the UK and Europe at large. And that's the movies that were actually prosecuted in court and stuff like that and were totally banned. Most, if not all of them, are unbanned now, so they're all legal now, just for the record. And this is Video Nasties 2. This is about the movies that weren't prosecuted but that were confiscated by 5-0 and stuff back in the days. Because that's what they did, man. They would raid your house, and they would, if you had a horror movie collection, you were never safe, man. They would raid your house and they would take your movies. No shit, I'm not fucking kidding. I don't think y'all had it that bad out in the US as far as censorship went when it came to horror movies, but out here it was that bad for a while, man. And movies were hard to get, so people were bootlegging movies like a motherfucker too, you know, and they were selling them, and you know, they didn't like people making business out of that, of course. So, but now everything is legal here too, most of it anyway. Nothing is really banned when it comes to horror movies anymore out here. But of course, there was some of the fun, they took that out of it too, when it was a little more fun when they were banned. Anyway, one of the very few good Norwegian horror movies, this one, Villmark, or roughly translated, I guess, Wilderness, about this group of people out in the woods, and then strange goings on start happening, you know, and yeah, this is a good one. Try to get this one if you can. Okay, then another nice slasher, and another one that goes on at a hospital. Not many slashers do, actually. So Visiting Hours from the 80s is a really nice slasher. Got Michael Ironside as the killer, and he's oh man, he's really creepy. He's really obnoxious killer. Definitely is. It might make you sick watching him, honestly. It's just like real crazy and real, oh man, Visiting Hours, man, great slasher. In a hospital setting. Not many to go now. We go back to Asian movies with Visitor Q. This is a Takashi Miike movie, yeah, from director Richard the Killer. I'm not a huge fan of this one. I'm not a huge Miike fan either. I'm sorry to say, he's got his moments. I really like Audition. That's a really dope one, but this one, yeah, it's alright, man. It's okay. Just for the record, I'm not selling it or anything, though. I think. More UK ghost TV movies from BFI. M.R. James, Ghost Story for Christmas, A Warning to the Curious. Another great ghost haunted movie in that style right there from BFI. Then we have something as rare as a Disney horror movie, Watcher in the Woods. Supposed to be on some PG horror movie shit. This got the girl from the James Bond movie For Your Eyes Only in it, by the way. Pretty cool. And this is about this thing in the woods. What is it? A ghost? Is it a monster? What is it? And that's for PG type horror movie. This is quite creepy, actually, as you've never seen it before. Watcher in the Woods.
Yep. I think we got another couple of giallos coming here, yeah.
What have they done to your daughters? Decent giallo, but actually more of an action police type Italian movie, I would say, from Salvation right here. Not one of my favorites.
It's okay. No more, no less. I like the other one
In the same series here better. What have they done? What have you done to Solange from the Giallo collection? This is more of a Giallo type story too. And Italian Giallo classic, this one. It's not one of the best, but far from one of the worst. It's a solid Giallo.
What have you done to Solange?
I think we're going to go back to the UK here. No, we're staying in Italy. It's got a UK actor though. Rest in peace, R.I.P. to the legendary Dracula, Christopher Lee. This is Mario Bava's Whip and the Body. What do you do with a whip and a body? Well, by this movie you'll find out.
That's all I'm going to say about that. But it's pretty creepy, I can tell you that. It's on some ghost shit, etc.
Keeping it ghostly. Oh man, this is a really creepy one actually. Whistle and I'll Come to You, another one of the BFI Ghost Story for Christmas ones. Ooh man, the ending especially on this is yeah, it's the kind of movie that'll make you lose sleep for sure. We got a werewolf movie from the 80s right here, Wolfen. That's a really great cover. I don't really think the movie is that great. It's pretty average to be honest, but it's one of those classics I remember from back in the days from the VHS video shelves and everything, with this great cover right here, Wolfen. It's okay, I might revisit. This is the old Snapper Case edition DVD of Mr. Wolfen. I am a fan of werewolf movies, by the way, and I really like this one. This is a recent 2000s remake of The Wolfman, and with Anthony Hopkins in it among others, and it's really, really good. This really captures the old school Universal monster style and updates it to the nth power in the Wolfman remake. Awesome. Don't sleep on this, man. If you haven't seen it, you need to go grab it, man. You need to own that one. The Wolfman is it's fucking dope, man. I'm telling you. I was showing you Grim Reaper Anthropophagus the Beast that I said was probably the rarest DVD I have, but I'm not so sure. I think it might be this one. I got real lucky on this one. This is the first DVD I ever bought, and I copped it from Amazon, and it was sold out and went out of print right after, and it's impossible to get now. This is the original TV movie of The Woman in Black, a spine-chilling ghost story, and that's exactly what this is. It's way more creepy and scary than the remake, though the remake is really good. You can also, this is a play as well, a theater play, so you can, in the UK, you can go watch this in the theater, and that would be fucking dope. They say it's as creepy, if not creepier. The Woman in Black being everywhere in the theater and everything. And so she is in this movie. She's just everywhere, and she's so creepy, man. It's oh man, one of the scariest movies of all time is The Woman in Black. If you get creeped out by ghosts and stuff, I mean evil ghosts like The Woman in Black really is. Another Giallo and another first edition DVD. This one is way out of print. I think this is worth a little something too. It's Your Vice, It's a Locked Door and Only I Have the Key by Sergio Martino. A pretty average Giallo, but look at the cover art, man. This is awesome. This is the original poster cover artwork from back in the days as well. It's just real cool. And a pretty good Giallo, that one from Sergio. Mr. Sergio Martino. Okay. That leaves only one DVD here. And it is the notorious Zombie Holocaust, or Dr. Butcher MD. It's got a reversible cover. I'm not going to show it to you now, but I'm sure you can find that elsewhere on YouTube if you're interested, or online. On the reversible cover art, it's called Dr. Butcher MD, or Zombie Holocaust. It's like a mix between zombies and cannibals and medicine type themed horror. And definitely banned back in the days out here. There was a local store who had one of these, and they were confiscated right away. It's another video nasty, but it's allowed nowadays. It's legal nowadays, like I said. So Dr. Butcher and the Zombie Holocaust, not a great movie, but it's a fun movie. It's a cool movie, man. It's a gore classic right here. Italian, of course. That ends the DVDs, but I have a couple of video CDs to show you. The reason why I bought this is that it was the only way to get them when they were brand new. So I ordered these from Asia, online video CDs, and this is the Eye right here, a great Asian ghost movie. Then I have another video CD, and it looks like this. It's actually Haute Tension or High Tension. The first one in the new wave of French gory horror movies, this one. And a great classic as well. One of the guys who did effects in one of the Fulci movies, his name escapes me right now, but he did effects in this one as well. And this was like a Christmas present for real horror fanats when it came out, that new wave French or French horror. It isn't happening anymore now, I don't think. I think it's been a while since there been a great French horror movie again now, but for a while the French were killing it with these type of movies. So High Tension or Haute Tension is the last one in my DVD collection, but I have a couple of more gems to show for those who are patient enough to follow me all the way. And the first one is this box up here that's a mix of a horror and mystery and crime anthology TV series from the UK, the spine-chilling 70s anthology called Thriller. 4 big boxes there with a lot of discs, created by Brian Clemens. Much respect to him, man. This is awesomeness. This is one of the best TV series. It's dated as fuck, but it's really 70s style, so it's really cool, man. And yeah, man, this is good shit. The Thriller box set, this series is good stuff. I got another surprise though that's even better. This is probably, no, this is definitely the most expensive DVD I've ever bought. I just hope you can see it properly now. It's the Dark Shadows Complete Original Series. It's a coffin box set, so it's shaped as a coffin. And do we dare open it up? In here you got the vampire from the series, from Dark Shadows, sleeping as of now. But how long will that last, do you think? Well, it's night time now, so hopefully he will stay asleep until I have time to close the coffin again. Oh yeah. Definitely the most expensive DVD set I own, man. This is hella heavy too. So to get this over, sent to me from either the US or the UK, it cost a lot of money, man. But it's a great series, Dark Shadows. And it fits in my name, White Shadow Norway too, of course, with the Dark Shadows. One final surprise. This was the last collector vid, DVD, horror, whatever, collector vid I'm going to be doing in a while. I hope you enjoyed the Blu-ray one and this really long DVD one. And for those of you who's been with me all the time, I got a little extra treat because I said this was the last one collector vid for a while, because I got a new album drop in very soon, and it's the first album where I actually rhyme myself, and it's called Last Man Standing, and this is the first CD copy of it. I'm going to have to bring it over here, see if I can get it in the light better. Yeah, Last Man Standing on the back. Here's the back cover with the track list and everything, man. I'm the only one in the world who got this on CD. This is a test pressing CD, so it's going to come out soon and be available to everyone. But that was a final surprise for those of you who stayed for the whole shebang on my DVD horror collection video. So, hope you enjoyed and had a good one. Peace out from